School professionals work to ensure a high standard of education for all our kids. I'm Jill Horner. This is Comcast Local Edition. With me this hour is Dr. Richard Baza. He is with the New Jersey Association of School Administrators. Thanks so much for being with us.
My pleasure.
Tell us a little bit about your association.
Our association has just over 1,000 members. We represent school superintendents throughout the state in all 21 counties, central office administrators, in addition to some business officials and principals and other school administrators.
Okay, and talk to us a little bit about the role of a superintendent within a school district.
Yes, it's a very interesting and complicated one. It's changed a great deal as time has gone by, but essentially their role is as the chief education officer, is to move education forward in their school district. So they're responsible for everything from getting the kids to school on the buses to feeding them and certainly moving their education forward and accountability in this age of how are we doing with the money we're investing in schools.
And let's talk a little bit about that money, because education, many municipalities pay 50 to 65% of their property taxes to fund their local school districts, yet districts have voted recently and about 73% of school budgets passed. What does that tell you as an organization about education in this state?
Well, there are a few things that I think it indicates. One is that there is confidence in the local school system. When you have that connection with the people who are voting in their community, they're going to let you know if you're doing a good job or not by that vote on the budget. It's the only place that you can have an opportunity to vote on your taxes. I think the other thing that it tells us is that schools are heeding the call of these tough economic times, and they're reining in their costs and doing everything that they can to lessen the burden while meeting those increasing demands for a quality education.
Districts, just like municipalities, work within a budget cap, a state-mandated budget cap. Has that helped people to have more confidence in the school system, knowing that they're staying within the budgets?
Well, I think that does. One of the things that we know from many studies is that people have great confidence in their local school district, but they're not so sure about the school district down the street or in the next state. So that local contact and the ability of the chief education officer to talk with their community about what's in the budget, what does it get for them, how are the students doing, and what does the future look like, I think is important in gaining that support to pass those local referenda.
One challenge that New Jersey has had, because of the number of municipalities, 566 municipalities, many more school districts than that, is that people have said that's a reason that our education costs so much and our property taxes are high in the state. What would you argue about the number of school districts and the importance of those for local areas?
Well, one of the things that we know now is that the state is examining whether or not school consolidation is in the interest of the students it serves and the citizens who have to pay the bill for that education. We find administrative costs often are at the heart of that. People believe that they're going to save administrative costs, but interestingly, we find as we look nationally, New Jersey actually has the 8th lowest costs for school administration. When you take a look at the percentage of the dollar that goes to school administration, the 8th lowest in the nation. So we begin to look and compare other states that have larger organizations for their school systems. The savings may not be there. And so these studies that are underway, I think, will be very critically important, because we can't assume that greater is or larger is better or smaller is better. We have to go out and examine it so that we can go back to the taxpayers and say to them, here's what we know about the quality of education, here's what we know about the cost.
Is it a matter of examining things on a case-by-case basis? Because some superintendents oversee dozens of schools, whereas one might oversee just one school. So is it a matter of looking at things on a district-by-district basis?
Absolutely. And when you take a look at the larger school systems, they're not necessarily the most efficiently run. And we take a look at then there are a number of other layers in the bureaucracy, if you will. And in school districts, small school districts, very often, there's one person who's running the show. And in most of the communities in our state, the school system is the biggest employer. It's the largest business in town, and great responsibility for that chief education officer. And they work very hard at it and do it as efficiently as possible.
We just have a short time left, but over your years in education, how has the role of a superintendent actually changed?
Well, it's changed dramatically from, I think, the top-down organization that it once was to having to be more inclusive. And I think the issues that we've talked about with taxes demonstrate why we have to communicate better with our public.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
We've been talking with Dr. Richard Baza. He's Executive Director of the New Jersey Association of School Administrators. I'm Jill Horner for Comcast Local Edition.